Hello, folks. It's Zenkus Watch again. I'll do a few quick pocket recaps. I know the news has been a buzz. We're all talking about the election now, and just like a lot of interesting stuff has been going on with, the Democratic Party having some hope now. The Democratic Party once again, choosing a very accomplished, strong woman to run against Donald Trump. And I'm hoping this won't be a repeat of 2016. I'm hoping that America has grown and moved on from then. And I do see some hopeful signs that America has been growing since 2016. And I hope that, however, VP Kamala Harris is treated in the media, I hope that the media has now learned to essentially stop, at least stop using mainstreamed misogyny and gaslighting people into believing it's valid questions that should be asked of the first female presidential candidate. I'm hoping the media has learned from that the idea of soft pedaling Trump or being obsessed with Trump while constantly slamming a female candidate with a non-scandal or a nothing burger like emails. I'm hoping we have moved on from that, and I'm hoping that this election will be more fair. I'm seeing a lot more hopeful signs, so I'm glad about that. Right now, however, for messy people like me, I am just going to keep on keeping on with calling out dirtbag leftists and foreign operatives like Tara Reid and Zenkus Watch and all that stuff. I just put up a few film clips that I believe have been almost lost to time. I had to scrounge a bit on Twitter to find them, but I'm going to go over them and just put them over into this little pocket recap. First film clip, this is something that Tara Reid put up, I think, last week. After fleeing to Russia, after defecting to Russia because she said her life was in danger, it turns out her life was kind of less in danger than she was said. She has gone back to the U.S. She has said in an interview that going back to the U.S. or leaving Russia invalidates her asylum claims because it shows that actually she's not in danger. So I guess her asylum claims in Russia are invalidated if she actually did have asylum in Russia. But now apparently she is openly in the U.S., probably on the West Coast. Not apparently in danger. I mean, she was casting herself as the sweet, pretty version of Alexei Navalny. Well, Navalny's dead, and she's going to her daughter's wedding in the U.S. Like, the Biden regime is apparently not regiming the way regimes usually regime. Ugh, well, that's odd how things work out like that. All right, let's listen to this little video message she put together.
So I've gotten a lot of people.
Oops, sorry, got it on mute. Let's try again.
So I've gotten a lot of people asking me what's going on. And so I'm going to put a press release that my lawyer, Rhoda Sterling, had written.
There's a lot of evidence that Rhoda Sterling's not a lawyer. We've already covered that. But okay, let's go on.
Below in these comments. But I wanted you to know, yes, I am back in America. And yes, my lawyer is going to be filing a petition to get Merrick Garland to open the case for third-degree sexual assault again that Joe Biden committed against me in 1993. Because
okay, so she originally said she was filing charges, or I believe a petition that her lawyer, I believe his name is John Levy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, said she was filing charges of third-degree sexual assault against Joe Biden because there's no statute of limitations on sexual assault in the District of Columbia. From what I can tell, I'm not a lawyer, from what I can tell, there was no statute of limitations. That law was put into effect in the beginning of January 2019. She started saying Biden SA'd her in March of 2020 after changing the story multiple times. And when people said, well, why are you pressing charges? She said the statute of limitations have run out. That was not true. The law was already in effect in 2020 for no statute of limitations for SA. But for some reason, she never filed charges. And now she's back in the U.S. and she says she will file charges. And now she's suddenly changing that to, I'm not filing charges. I'm just filing a petition to Merrick Garland so that he can open up an investigation. What happened to those charges, girl? I thought you were going to charge him. Suddenly you don't want to charge him.
there is no statute of limitations apparently in Washington, D.C., and they should open an investigation at the very least. So
she's doing that swallow thing that she does when she lies and is nervous, because, of course, the obvious question is out there. If there's no statute of limitations, just press charges. You don't need an investigation, just press charges. And if the charges go forward, then there will be an investigation. But instead, she wants the investigation. She's not pressing charges. I mean, do we have to make it more obvious? She can't press charges because nothing happened in 1993. It was all a foreign disinformation op.
It would really help me if you could sign the petition and share it, because the more signatures, the more of a mandate there will be. It took me a great...
And here we go. Here's the grift. Yeah, sign the petition, try and increase my clout, see if I can fundraise a bit. I don't know if she's staying in her daughter and her daughter's husband's basement. That looks like a fold-out couch beside her. I bet she is staying at their house. You know, I do feel sorry for her daughter. Her daughter's been controlled by her for all her life, honestly. And I was hopeful that with Tara stuck in Russia, maybe her daughter would find a new life with her husband, but apparently no. I mean, even with all the quote-unquote danger she was facing by the quote-unquote Biden regime, let's face it, the only danger she had was possibly a warrant out for accepting money as a foreign agent, possibly just the media forgetting about her. That's the biggest danger. But I think what really drove Tara Reade nuts was the fact that her daughter was getting married to a man, and suddenly her control over her daughter was slipping. She was Tara Reade was in Russia, her daughter was getting married to a man, and I think Tara couldn't stand the fact that there might be somebody else in her daughter's life, her daughter's husband, who would be counteracting her when it comes to control of her daughter. I know how personalities like Miss Tara Reade work.
Risk, of course, to come to America. I came for several reasons. Some were personal. I had a big family event. My daughter was getting married. I also really wanted to help, with...
What do you want to bet she tried to make the wedding all about her? What do you want to bet she probably picked a fight with the groom and the groom's family at the wedding? I'm sure there was just mess upon mess.
The paperwork that my lawyer was trying to file, and I was hopeful that I could maybe testify in Congress to the whistleblower committee and pick up where we left off with Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. We'll see if any of that occurs.
That occurred. Even Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene do not want to touch you. That's how radioactive you are. The two biggest clowns in Congress are saying, nah, even for us, you're a little bit much. That has got to hurt. That has got to sting, girl. I can't imagine.
Because in the last 48 hours, so much has happened since the attempted assassination on Donald Trump, which is horrific. So we'll see the results of all of that. But thank you for all your support. Thank you for all the new followers. And if you would, just please share this petition and sign it if you feel that it's worthwhile to sign. And, it's...
I wonder if she reaches enough signatories with that petition, she can attach a GoFundMe. That's sort of her usual modus operandi. There's probably going to be a GoFundMe coming down the pike. You signed this petition. Would you be interested in donating $5 to this poor, beautiful victim who's been thrown out of her home by the Democratic machine? Sob, sob, sob. That's going to be happening next.
Interesting to be back in America. I was very lucky to have a very gracious host in Russia. They were very kind to me and protected me when my life was at risk. And now the many people that...
Your life was at risk from who? From the Americans? I don't know who this host was that she was staying with. I'm wondering, I think what actually happened, the dynamics, was that people were already starting to believe that Biden was going to step out. And when Biden stepped out, it's like I said on the Twitter account, if Biden steps aside, she becomes as obsolete as a laser disc. I mean, she's already pretty much 90% obsolete now. With Biden out, I mean, what else can she do? And Russia's not going to pay for her to be there. She's not Edward Snowden. Even after Obama was out of office, Edward Snowden proved his worth to Putin by retaining his platform of sort of contrarian cryptocurrency white male bros. Like, Snowden still has his platform. Snowden still has his fans. Snowden still has a great deal of influence in terms of the information, the Russian disinformation that he is able to expel. Snowden still has a massive platform and gives a great deal of he retains clout among the Western certain portions of the Western population, mostly, like I said, white male cryptocurrency contrarian bros. Tara Reid promised Putin a similar platform of Me Too movement white suburban women. Women who would be very, very sympathetic to her totally real, not fake allegation of essay against Joe Biden. She has failed to deliver. Her entire audience is either bots or trolls or sock accounts. No woman really cares about her. No woman in the Me Too movement cares about her. Even people who interviewed her, like Megyn Kelly, like that Megyn Kelly interview after she defected to Russia, it was clear that even Megyn Kelly had stopped being on her side. Tara Reid did not deliver to Putin that large platform of pivotal voters that Putin wanted. And so why is Putin going to continue to pay for her to be in Russia? Putin sent her back home. I mean, especially now since her alleged story is even more obsolete than it was. And it was already obsolete before Biden decided to step down from the campaign.
Had said, what was I scared of? Now, after seeing what happened to Trump, now do you understand why I felt I had to leave the country and why I was feeling such at risk when my life was being threatened? And I didn't have...
What? Oh my God! Now do you see? Now do you see why I felt so at risk? The guy who shot Trump was far right. He wasn't a Democrat. He was far right. He was just another like mentally ill white guy. I mean, if you want to leave the country because we have too many guns in this country, that's a fair assessment. A lot of Americans want to do that. But she's implying that the guy who tried to shoot Trump was some part of the Democratic machine. He wasn't. He was a far right, mentally ill, like 20-year-old white guy, very much in the demographic of mass shooters. And the idea that she's once again clout chasing, but trying to reroute the story of the attempted assassination of Trump back towards her. So are you saying the far right is targeting you now, Tara? Because it was supposed to be the Democratic machine that was after you. Like, this absolutely makes no mistake. This absolutely makes no sense. It is a huge mistake.
Have any, special security protecting me, or anything like, or the resources to do that. So it was quite a scary time.
I had no special security protecting me. It was a scary time. I know she even accused the Democrats of she got into almost an accident with an SUV and she blamed that on the Democrats with absolutely no evidence. And, but if you're in such danger, I mean, the assassination was still just like 2 weeks ago. If you're in such danger, why are you back in the U.S.? Shouldn't you have to be staying, quivering in Russia? Why are you back in the U.S.? Just for your daughter's wedding? You're willing to kill yourself to see your daughter's wedding, to see your daughter at her wedding? That doesn't measure up.
So I was very lucky, and Moscow, Russia is beautiful. Our country really doesn't understand Russia as it should because the media has been very complicit with the hawkish administration of the Biden administration going after Russia and making up lies. Moscow and Russia is very beautiful. The Russian people do not want to be our enemy, and it was a very good place to be safe.
Well, the Russian people don't want to be Ukraine's enemy either. It's their corrupt government that's been forcefully transcripting them into that war. Oh, and by the way, keep in mind that the average Russian makes $782 American dollars a month. That's not a week. They make $782 American dollars a month. That's the average salary of a Russian citizen. They make less than the average salary of somebody who lives in the poorest state in the U.S., Mississippi. So please keep in mind that she's lying here.
Now I'm back in America for a time to try to move the case forward, and I hope that I can get your support. Back in 1993, I had filed a report that's been sealed in the University of Delaware. So I am hoping that there will be an investigation, and I'm also hoping that...
Again, this complaint, which she first said she did not file, and then she said she did file, this is all bullshit, of course. The papers in the University of Delaware would not contain any employee complaints. That's not what happens when a politician donates his papers to a university to be unsealed at like 2 years after he retires from public life, which actually considering that, after January 2025, she just has to wait 2 more years and then those records will be unsealed. And you know what? We're not going to find a goddamn thing. She'll be a non-entity by then. I mean, seriously, we're not going to find a damn thing then. But of course, nobody will care. Nobody will care. Just wait a couple of years after January 2025, because those records are supposed to be unsealed 2 years after Joe Biden retires from public life. That was the stipulation. And people don't file employee complaints when politicians donate their old papers to universities. That's a huge privacy violation. I mean, I would not want my employee reviews, my employee complaints, if I worked for a congressman, to be visible to the public eyes, after they're donated to the university and then available to people to publicly peruse. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
My story will be heard without me being attacked by the Democratic troll farms and those who have interests in protecting Biden.
They weren't attacked, baby. You were debunked. You were debunked, bunny. You were given months of airtime, months of public attention. But you forgot to delete a few tweets. You forgot all the people who suddenly saw you when the New York Times published current day pictures of you, current day photos of you, instead of all your cheesecake photos from the 80s. And they realized, I know that woman. She's a liar. She's a con artist. She's lying about everything. This is what's called debunking. We didn't debunk Juanita Broderick. She's telling the truth. But when you're lying, you get debunked. And you've been telling your story over and over and over and over again. The fact that nobody's interested and nobody believes you is on you. It's not you being suppressed. It's not you being attacked. It's just that nobody believes you, and that's on you. You have lived your entire life refusing to be held accountable, and that's why you're living on a fold-out couch in your daughter's basement. I will guarantee it.
He was my monster, and now he's become the whole world's monster. And 2 days ago...
that line, I think she got that from Putin. She was my monster, and he was my monster, and now he's become the whole world's monster. Huh. No, I mean, let's be weird. He's become Putin's monster. He's managed to really weaken Putin through providing Ukraine with weapons and also finally pushing back on a lot of Putin's ops. He has become Putin's monster. And Putin, the only weapons he has in his drawer at this point is you. And boy, that's sad for Putin. That's very sad for Putin. And even then, Putin is like, babe, we're not supporting your fat ass here in Moscow. We're already strapped for cash with the Ukraine war. Why don't you just go back home? Live on that gross brown fold-out couch in your daughter's basement. And I'm sure she's sort of secretly hoping you'll move out too soon.
After this, Trump had suffered from lawfare and almost being put in jail by the Democratic Party. Then he was almost...
Lawfare? What is law? Oh, I guess they're calling it warfare. Oh, okay, that must be a new PSYOP word, like stenographer or rape apologist or warmonger or corporate Democrat. I guess lawfare. All right. I mean, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. It's not really that catchy of a phrase, honestly.
Assassinated. Now, whether the Democratic Party surrogates were directly involved or the media, it doesn't matter. They were using rhetoric that was quite violent that got someone to...
The guy who shot Trump was a far-right supporter. He was going to shoot Trump because Trump was not far-right enough for him. Plus, of course, he was a mentally ill white guy. You're accusing the Democrats of trying to assassinate Trump? The Democrats did not want to assassinate Trump. In fact, the first thing they said after Trump survived the assassination was well, he's won the election now. The Democrats were the first people who said the Secret Service need to resign for this incredibly appalling lapse in protecting Trump. This is ridiculous. She's accusing the Democrats of trying to kill Trump.
Take action with such a violent way, and we don't need that in our country. And I'm just going to say it flat out, it was wrong.
By the way, I will also say she used violent rhetoric against people like me, people who have been debunking her, people like critics. She has even posted GIFs like Katniss drawing her bow when people have mentioned Biden, which I thought was essentially a call for assassination against Biden. So she should not be talking about violent rhetoric. I have all the receipts in the account. We have all the receipts in the account. OG Zankus Watch has receipts as well. We got it all stacked up, girl. You are, believe me, You have had your own share of violent rhetoric, and that's been pretty bad.
The way Donald Trump, the former president, was treated by the Democratic Party elites and by Joe Biden and his cohorts. But they will go to whatever ends necessary to keep their power. And
It's almost like Democrats and judges and lawyers and police officers charge people who commit crimes, like you and like Trump. And in fact, it's been Trump's handpicked judges who, in light of clear crimes, dismiss the charges because they are in Trump's pocket. Do you think anyone who had done what Trump did with classified documents would do anything except go to jail? If Eileen Cannon had been standing in judgment of them, of course she would send them to jail. But she dismissed the charges against Trump for very stupid reasons that were unconstitutional, because she's in Trump's pocket.
And my case is an example of that. And no one should have to live in fear, and that's why I decided to come back. We have to keep fighting.
Okay, but shouldn't you, be in jail now, or, suffering the same fate as Navalny? Because you were the one implying that Biden had a regime that wanted to unalive you. You're the one implying that Biden was the one who's trying to, who's, so dangerous. Alexei Navalny, who had a lot more people on his side than you do, he ended up dead. Putin killed him. All you're doing is, your fat ass is sleeping on an ugly brown fold-out couch in your daughter's basement. I said it again. I think that's her daughter's house. And I also like the fact that she's probably flat out filming in her daughter's house when, she knows, oh, people are trying to attack me. Are you really going to try and dox your child's residence? Aren't you scared for your life? This is so ridiculous.
We have to keep going. We have to keep pushing back, or we will never have any inkling of a democracy. It will be lost to these warmongers.
Oh, warmonger is also another Kremlin buzzword. I really like the fact that she's now changed from saying I'm going to charge Biden under this, since there are no statute of limitations for SA in the District of Columbia. She's changed that to I'm just going to petition Garland. Just sign my petition, please. That's she's not even going to press charges. Why are you scared to press charges, honey? Why are you scared to press charges against Biden? No statute of limitations, which, by the way, was the case in 2020 when you initially came forward and with your highly dubious story. You said there was a statute of limitations. No, there weren't. The law went into effect in 2019. Well, how come there are no statute of limitations anymore? How come you're doing a petition instead of charging Biden? What are you scared of, honey?
With that, again, I thank you for your support, and I will keep you informed of how my case goes forward, if it goes forward. So let's move on, and hopefully let's get a different outcome in our election this year.
Yeah, Kamala Harris will be elected instead of Biden. There you go. There's your different outcome. All right, well, that was boring and dumb. Let's go on to another film clip real quick. Here we go. This I love. This I love. I'm not going to have any slander against it. Oh, wait. I want to quickly drag a few things here and there. One moment, my dears. One moment. Now, this was taken offline, which is just too bad because it's so hilarious. I want to relive this joy. This is the Center for Political Innovation, CPI, Chicago opening ceremony, and it is so cringe. I believe Tara Reid got an award given to her by Caleb Maupin. Caleb Maupin hosted this awards ceremony. It was full of pro-Russian, pro-Chinese Kremlin propaganda. I'm sure Putin hung his head in shame, thinking God damn it, are these the best we can get for people on our side? And then about a week afterwards, after everyone had finished laughing at this video, Caleb Maupin got exposed by his staff members for being a sexual predator. This is all alleged, but there is a long medium essay by a former staff member who apparently Maupin, she got fired by Maupin's organization. She was forced to become a sex worker, and Maupin became her client. And just other indications like that, where Maupin was very predatory. And this is the same guy who Tara Reid, who proclaims to be a voice and an advocate for people who survive SA, she stood by his side during these highly credible allegations. She stood by his side. She accepted his award. Remember, she's always been terrible. Now, but here, let's just. I'm gonna play this through once, and then let's watch it again and laugh because I love this. Oh God. Ugh. Yeah, that happened. That happened. Let's just look at this part here. I just want to look at this part again. Like just okay, let's play again. Look at this woman in the middle holding that Z sign. That's a sign of like Russian fascists who are currently invading Ukraine and slaughtering civilians. She's the only one with an expression like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I shouldn't. I think I'm not. I think I shouldn't be doing this. I'm feeling my soul die within me as I hold this sign. Like you can sort of like look at her expressions. You can sort of feel like she knows she's doing something very wrong here. Yeah, yeah, look at that. She's like, why are they making me hold the Z? Why? I don't think I really should be holding the Z. Look how nervous she is. Yeah, girl, this was a mistake. Oh, fine. I feel slightly sorry for her, but she knew what she was doing. All right, let me tell you, summer 2022 was a hell of a time. It was, for those of us who like to make fun of the dirtbag left, it was a time. It was a time. All right, I also want to now go on to a next clip here, which was from an old interview from OAN. Now, this was clipped by Stars at Night at Stars 5 at Night. So she did an excellent job clipping this because I have not found it anywhere except on her account. I want to react to this because here is a picture of Tara Reid not only lying, but lying about a dead war veteran, Beau Biden. She is lying. You can tell she is lying. And it's sort of lying already is just a bad thing. It kills your soul. But lying when the person you are talking about.
Well, what I noticed is he's trying to backpedal, like, with the environment quickly because the Democrats, 40% of the base he walked away from. So that's why I feel politically homeless. As you know, when we've talked about, many progressives have felt that way. He's moved far, far away from what true Democrats truly believe, and so you're leaving 40% of that voting base behind and alone. And you'll notice that, and this.
By the way, this is after a little context here. So this is after the final debate between Trump and Biden in 2020. You can probably see elections 2020, Trump and Biden. So that's the context here. This isn't after the Trump-Biden debate that happened in the end of June. This is the final debate between Trump and Biden in 2020.
Debate, they did not ask either candidate about sexual assault or sexual harassment. Basically, any of these issues, and we're more than half the population. So it would have been nice to have seen some dialogue about that.
Guys, can Tara hear us? Tara, can you hear me? Okay, great. So this is Dan. I do have a question for you. As you were watching this and what you've seen unfold and come out of Hunter's laptop about the big guy, we all know who that is. The big guy is Joe, the man you worked for, the man who assaulted you. When you worked there, what type of interaction, if any, did you see with the boys and Joe, and how was that interaction? And obviously this was years ago, they were younger, but they were adults, they were doing business. Was there anything that ever didn't pass the smell test with you when it came to Hunter? Because it seems like, obviously, he was the black sheep of the family, let's just say it, and Bo was Joe's pride and joy. So anything stand out to you?
At this point, she should have said, like, listen, I was just a staff aide. No, I didn't have any interaction with the senator's children, with the then senator's children. She's not going to say that. Look at this. Whenever somebody gives her an opportunity to embellish the story, she jumps on it. Anyone who's telling a true story about what happened would have been like, listen, I was a staff aide. I didn't interact with the senator's children. I didn't really actually see that much. I was mostly just sorting mail, which would have been the truth. But notice instead she's like, ooh, yes, a new opportunity for me to embellish this story.
Well, remember I was in 1993, so Hunter was quite small at that time. However, and you're right, Bo was the golden. However, one thing.
How would you know? Yes, he is. She's lying about how Bo Biden was the golden child and Hunter was the black sheep, and you're right. You wouldn't know. Bo Biden can't contradict himself. He's dead. He passed away. You're lying about somebody who's dead, who can't refute you. And you are lying. There is no way that you knew anything about Joe Biden's children.
I did notice is I was ordered to hire only DuPont employee children. So I pushed back on that with Ted Kaufman, the chief of staff, who is working right now in Biden's campaign, and who also silenced my complaint when I tried to take it to him about the sexual harassment.
That's funny. Why would a staff aide be hiring people? She actually wasn't that high up. She wasn't a legislative aide. She was a staff aide. She was sorting mail, and she got fired because she kept on tossing mail into the trash. And this is backed up not only by people who worked with her at the time, but her career since then. She's 60 years old. She has had no career. No career in the law, though she went to law school. No career in nonprofits. No career in animal shelters or founding animal shelters. Every job she's been at, she's fired for some way, and she always plays a victim. In fact, even the videotape she showed of herself filming her colleagues in 1993, they show that the colleagues are working and she's filming them and they do not want to be filmed. People like that get fired. And of course, she will always blame someone else. She's taken no accountability, which is why she's almost 60. She is. This is one thing I will say about OAN. One thing I will say about OAN is that they gave her a pretty decent makeup job. Good makeup, good eye makeup, good hair. She looks actually pretty good here. She's not good. We saw the videotape from earlier. This is not what she actually looks like, but they did a really nice makeup job on her here. However, here again, she was in her 50s. She had no career, no job. She wasn't an actor. She wasn't a poet. She wasn't a geopolitical expert. She wasn't a lawyer. She wasn't somebody who worked with nonprofits. She wasn't somebody who had worked to found animal shelters. She had no career because she always got fired and she always blamed other people for it.
And when I brought forth, before all of that, I said, I want more diversity in our office, not just DuPont employee children. They're just, wealthy young men basically coming in, they allowed me 50%. The 50% had to be those DuPont employees. And there seemed to be such an intertwining relationship between the DuPont family, the DuPont Corporation, and others.
All right, well, nobody cares. But I just wanted to do that because I wanted to show how she likes to lie about knowing about Hunter Biden and knowing about Bill Biden. She doesn't know about any of these people. Again, she was a staff aide. She didn't even interact with Biden. She didn't interact with anybody except her extremely annoyed colleagues who wanted her to stop filming them and wanted her to just truth. Managed to snip this piece of film that Tara Reid later cut from the live replay from her, I think she was talking with some other people about her book. She had just written a book. Here are the people she was talking with. And she had clipped this because Anthony Zankis went off. Remember, we're the Zankis Watch accounts. We're going to talk about this. Anthony Zankis, I don't know if he was drunk. I don't know if he was mentally ill. This was February 20th, 2021. So I think at this point, he was aware that his op of getting Joe Biden to lose the election, first getting Joe Biden to lose the primary and putting in Bernie instead. When that didn't work, he tried to get Joe Biden to lose the election against Trump. And when that didn't work, he fell into this pit of despair. He was calling everybody a rape apologist. He was just, his Twitter was just absolutely gross. February 20th, 2021. His Twitter was gross. Joe Biden had been sworn into presidency. Joe Biden was a president. Everything had failed. And he was on this live stream with Tara Reid, but even then, only like 40 people were watching her. And it was just hammering home how badly he had failed. And he went nuts. He went absolutely nuts. You can just see him. He's not doing well here.
Should. Start me. And listen, I'll just be really brief.
Look how bad he is. His face is bony. He got fatter now, but then his face is bony. It almost looks like he's missing teeth. He looks so stressed, like he hasn't slept. He almost looks like a drug abuser or something. Like he looks so bad off here.
The trolls, the people who have disparaged Tara and her allies, have tried to destroy her character and her life. They have tried to destroy the character.
Look how bony and emaciated it is. I have to admit, I did kind of poke some fun at him for the fact he's gotten a little fatter. But looking at this now, I'm going to have to retract that. I actually would prefer him slightly overweight than here. He looked really emaciated. He looks like he dropped like an unhealthy amount of weight here.
And the lives of the people who supported her, you don't have to believe her. But I mean, listen, I'm not the only one, but
you don't have to believe her? Yeah, none of us believe her, baby. None of us believe her. And if we don't believe her, that means that we are going to push back, because if she's lying about rape, and slandering someone, we will push back. We will push back. We are not going to be polite about someone who is clearly lying to, first of all, throw the election to Trump, and second of all, to smear a man who didn't deserve it.
I've suffered people trying to get me fired from my job because I simply said I believe a rape victim. So I'm going to...
No. You do not deserve that job because you have been emotionally and verbally abusing people online. You are somebody who says he's a trauma expert. You are somebody who says he's a mental health expert. You're someone who says he is an expert in sexual assault awareness. And you are constantly putting the name of Columbia University up on your Twitter account, even though you're just an adjunct lecturer there. And considering all the anti-Semitic student protests that have been going on at Columbia with very little pushback from the Columbia faculty, I think saying that you teach at Columbia is no longer the flex it used to be. But when you are emotionally and verbally abusing people online, then yes, that's something that your employer should be aware of, especially if your employer believes that you are a social work teacher who knows how to teach trauma-informed therapy. That's your job as an adjunct instructor. They thought you were able to teach trauma-informed therapy, and you were unable to do that. So yeah, your ass is getting reported.
I'm going to say this on the record, and if the DNC and Joe Biden wants to sue me, go ahead. Joe Biden, you are a rapist.
No. No one's going to sue you because Joe Biden and DNC are public figures. No one's going to sue you. And guess what, buddy? You're a public figure too. So I'm going to say what I want to say. I believe what I'm saying is true, even though I will say allegedly, because just to be on the safe side. But That doesn't alter the fact that you're a public figure, pal, and yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Let's hear that again.
Joe Biden, you are a rapist. The DNC, you are complicit in rape. You have destroyed the
All right,
Me Too movement.
1 second. Let's now think about something else. The DNC is disproportionately women. The DNC is disproportionately people of color. When you start attacking the DNC as complicit in rape, you are attacking an organization that is disproportionately minority majority, disproportionately made up of people who belong to vulnerable populations, including women, including minorities, ethnic, religious, and racial minorities, people, and also sexual identity minorities. You are attacking an organization that stands up for these people. And you, as a white man, are saying that they are complicit in a crime because the woman that you tried to use to elevate yourself as an expert, that the Russian operatives told you, allegedly, would help elevate you as an expert and help increase your clout, allegedly, turned out to be debunked, and you're angry about that because you have failed. You recorded this February 2021. Joe Biden is in the White House, still in the White House, and you failed, and that's why you are so miserable on this stream.
You were destroying the lives of women. People, survivors, are committing suicide because of the trauma that you have inflicted upon them. I say this.
See, that's a hell of an accusation. That is a hell of an accusation. He is literally accusing the DNC of making people commit suicide because they would not believe Tara Reade. Can you believe that accusation? Look at that. No wonder Tara Reade clipped this out. This was too much even for her. This is how bizarrely insane he is. You know, all the demon imagery he puts up, saying that Nancy Pelosi is an actual demon from the pits of hell. He's not mentally healthy. He is insane. And I actually have no qualms at all when I tag Secret Service and showed them the tweets. I don't think they really care. But, you know, I will tag whoever I have to tag because I don't think this man is really entirely safe. I do think he's too lazy and too apathetic to do anything except tweet. I think it's actually kind of hilarious how he never carries through on any project at all because he's such a lazy ass that he can't do anything. Like, even his students are like, this guy can't even post our grades. This guy doesn't even show up for his own classes. That is how lazy of an ass he is. But nevertheless, that rhetoric is bad, especially if he's talking to younger people who don't have as much experience with manipulation, who think like, oh my God, but he's an actual trauma expert. He actually goes to Columbia, and now he says I'm complicit in rape unless I believe everything that Tara Reade says. Like, yeah, when you're 19 and 20 and 21 and going to college, you're going to believe that sort of thing. And that's why I do what I do. This is why Zanka's Watch Count does what it does, because women do tend to be more vulnerable to this type of emotional manipulation. It's something that we have to push back on.
Expert in trauma as a man who knows that men need to give up power, and as a member of society that has to destroy patriarchy.
Yeah. You're a good woke male feminist. And by that, no, you're neither woke nor feminist. You are a male, though. Right. Let's listen again to what he's accusing the DNC of. He literally said the DNC is making people commit suicide.
Are committing suicide because of the trauma of the Me Too movement. You were destroying the lives of women. People, survivors, are committing suicide because of the trauma that you have inflicted upon them. I say this.
He is accusing the DNC of making people commit suicide. Yeah. When you are so toxic that not just Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Tara Reade has to clip this bit of film from her live stream before she puts it up, that's pretty bad.
As an expert in trauma, as a man who knows that men need...
You see, he still keeps on saying expert on trauma. He can't even in the middle of this odd, probably looks like he hasn't slept in 48 hours, this rant, he has to keep on saying, I'm an expert. Like, that's BS. But yeah, if you're a vulnerable 19 or 20-year-old, you're going to be like, but this guy's an expert. Like, I've seen, 19-year-old candidates that have, naively assumed he was on their side. This is a sort of manipulation that we do have to push back on, but I've said that already.
Need to give up power, and as a member of society that has to destroy patriarchy. If you don't get out of the way, you will be sidelined, and you will no longer be relevant.
Oh, okay. Well, he managed to catch himself a bit. You will be, and then he said, sideline, and you will no longer be relevant. All right, good dodge, good dodge. You were almost about to threaten something violent there, but you dodged. All right, he's starting to get a little more cautious here. All right, I'm good, good. I'm glad to see that. Let's go on.
And every Democrat who stays silent, you are complicit in rape. I'm sorry. I'm done.
I'm sorry, I'm done. Yes, so every person who does not believe this Russian operative who keeps changing her story, you're complicit. A woman who kept changing her story and was clearly involved in a Russian disinformation op.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was wow. Wow. Again, imagine being so toxic that Tara Reid has to cut your part from her live stream. Wow. All right, there's one more thing I want to look at before we wrap this up. God, that's so funny. Alrighty, let's check this out. I wanted to look at something else. Here is Miss Reid. Check that out. Let's go down through her Twitter. Usual anti-Israel stuff. Usual stuff where she's yelling because the shit with Biden has made her irrelevant. Oh, here we go. Let's look at this. I wanted to look at this. I want to react to this, and then we're going to wrap this up.
You runs with him. I mean, maybe Art has had some sort of friendship since, but my memory is that there was a little bit of animosity there. He was actually closer. His best friend when was.
Wait, who's she talking about?
You runs with him. I mean, maybe Art has had some sort of friendship since, but my memory is that there was a little bit of animosity there. He was actually closer. His best friend when was Strom Thurmond. That was one of.
She's talking about Biden. Like, you know who Biden's friends were. Like, she was up there hobnobbing and, in the back rooms between Joe Biden and Strom Thurmond and RFK Jr. Like, bitch, you sorted mail.
And Orrin Hatch is who Joe Biden had lunch with quite a bit. Christopher.
Girl, you didn't know. You didn't know. You were just in the mailroom.
These people. The whole Ted Kennedy thing. He was friends with them. Ted Kennedy did some, but there was also tension there. And
yeah, again, you don't know. You don't know Ted Kennedy. You don't know Orrin Hatch. You don't know any of this. Stop pretending that you were, more in the know than you actually were. Stop pretending that you knew about Hunter Biden and Beau Biden. Stop pretending any of this. And in fact, if you're going to lie about Ted Kennedy, doesn't the implication that there was tension between Joe Biden and Ted Kennedy, especially since Ted Kennedy sexually harassed a lot of his female staffers, it almost seems like Joe Biden doesn't really like associating with people who sexually harass women, which is kind of a wrench in the story you're trying to sell, which is that Joe Biden finger banged you in a hallway somewhere, or an alcove, or I don't know, maybe in the mailroom itself. It depends on, whoever's debugging it. Some place that may or may not exist. Believe me, the story has changed so often and so much that who knows? Who knows? But, yep, liar's gonna lie. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for joining me with this little reaction. We're going to see what happens next. I'm having some hope for the future, and let's just